Today, we are diving deep into the incredible, layered history of Pristina, the capital of Kosovo. And we're doing it with a little help from this absolutely stunning illustrated book, Pri'strip'INA, that really brings centuries of stories to life. So, let's peel back the layers together and see what this city's past has to tell us. You know, every city has a story, but some are buried way deeper than others. When you look at an image like this bustling marketplace from a time gone by, you've got to ask yourself, what tales are hiding in plain sight on the streets of Pristina? What can they tell us about the empires and all the people who left their mark here? So where do we even begin this story? Well, believe it or not, it all starts with a single fleeting mention. Just a passing glimpse from a really powerful guy. Picture this. The year is 1342. The Byzantine Emperor John VI Kantakouzenos is just traveling through the area. He's not there on some grand mission to conquer or build anything. He's simply passing by. And that's when he spots a village. And right there, in his records, he makes the very first historical note of a place called Pristina, even mentioning a royal palace. And this is what I love, this simple question. It's so human. It takes a dry historical fact and turns it into this moment of pure curiosity. You can almost see him, can't you? Pointing from his horse, asking his guys about the very place that would one day become a capital city. So after that first mention in 1342, the next 100 years or so were, well, they were a whirlwind. The legendary Battle of Kosovo in 1389 was a massive turning point for the entire region, and by 1455, the deal was done. Pristina was officially part of the huge and powerful Ottoman Empire, which basically set the stage for the next 5 centuries. And that brings us to this massive chapter, the Ottoman period. This wasn't just a phase in Pristina's history. For 500 years, it was pretty much the whole story. It defined its culture, its architecture, its whole vibe as this amazing crossroads between the Balkans and the East. Okay, so to really get a handle on this, you gotta understand how the Ottomans organized things. The empire was carved up into these administrative districts called sanjaks. And Pristina wasn't just an island, it became a key piece of the sanjak of Vučićin, plugging it right into that huge imperial network. And wow, did its importance grow fast. I mean, just a few decades into Ottoman rule, Pristina wasn't just some town anymore. It was the center of its own local district, a nahia, looking after 82 other villages. It was quickly becoming the main player in the region. All right, let's jump forward a few centuries to the 1800s. The empire is changing, but Pristina has really found its groove as this buzzing hub for trade and crafts. So what did it actually feel like to walk these streets back then? And luckily for us, we get this amazing eyewitness account from a French consul, a guy named Anton Louis Vasse, who visited in 1812. He described a walled city of about 8,000 people, just a hive of activity, a really important administrative center where you'd see traders from all over the Balkans. Okay, so here's a number for you, 11. What on earth do you think there were 11 of in Pristina way back in 1844? Take a guess. The answer is probably not what you're thinking. Get this, the answer is coffee shops. Yup, in 1844, being a coffee shop owner was one of the most popular jobs around. And that tells you everything, doesn't it? These places weren't just for grabbing a drink. They were the absolute heart of the city's social and business worlds. It's where deals got done, where news spread, and where the community really came together. But coffee wasn't the whole story, not by a long shot. Those same records from 1844 show that Pristina was full of incredibly skilled artisans. Things like silk weaving were a big deal, and it all paints a picture of a really diverse and bustling local economy. So you have this thriving city of coffee houses and craftsmen really at the peak of its game, but a massive, devastating challenge was just around the corner, one that was going to test its very will to survive. The city faced an absolute catastrophe. In the span of just a few years, 2 enormous fires, one in 1859, another in 1863, just tore through Pristina. You have to imagine the devastation, the loss of homes, of businesses, of history. It must have been just unimaginable. And these fires weren't just some temporary problem. They literally changed the shape of the city forever. But, and this is the amazing part, out of those ashes came rebuilding. It's just an incredible testament to the resilience of the people who called this place home. Okay, buckle up, because as we hit the 20th century, the speed of change just goes into overdrive. We're talking about the fall of empires, the rise of brand new ideologies. Everything was about to get shaken up and reshape Pristina all over again. I mean, just look at this. The difference is night and day, isn't it? On one side, you have the chaotic, colorful, organic life of an Ottoman market, and on the other, the rigid, state-controlled symbols of the communist era. This one comparison just says it all, a total shift in the city's identity. Then, starting in 1944, a completely new way of thinking arrived. This was another one of those moments of total transformation. The city's economy, its society, its very skyline, it was all torn down and rebuilt according to a completely different set of rules. So, what's the big takeaway here? When you really boil it all down, Pristina's story is one of ancient roots and constant strategic importance. It was absolutely molded by centuries of Ottoman culture, but it also became this incredible hub of trade and craft in its own right. And through it all, it has been transformed again and again by fire, politics, and the relentless tides of history. And you know, it's funny. That brings us right back to where we started, with an emperor on a hill looking at a palace. His simple question, whose palace is that, is really the same question we're asking today. Who built this city? What were their lives like? What came before us? So I guess I'll just leave you with this thought. The next time you're walking down a street, whether it's in Pristina or your own hometown, just think for a second about the centuries of stories that are hidden right under your feet. How much of a city's triumphs, its trades, its tragedies, how much of it do we ever really see?